So my friend was browsing Amazon the other day looking for a diesel heater when he came across this oddity. He shared it with me, and I don't usually impulse buy like that, but I had to buy it to try it to see if it did what it said. And if you've guessed from the title of this video, this diesel heater comes on a UK mains plug. That's right, you can plug it straight into the wall and have a diesel heater connected to mains. Now, I'd love to show you the advert, but I've just been on my phone there to check and it's gone. So the original advert said 12 volt, 24 volt, 240 volt. And this powers off of all of those things. So let's try that and see if it does any of those things. And then we'll take it apart and have a look at its insides and how it does such things. So our first step will be to take it over to the plug socket over here and plug it in. Right, zoom in. Zoom in, bitch! Okay, so I'm going to turn on the power meter first. Power meter, there she goes. And we're going to plug it in. It is plugged in. Okay, so just sitting at idle, we can see it's drawing 7.4 watts, thank you. And I can hear a fan running inside the heater. Right, well, I suppose I should run it first to make sure that it actually runs. It would appear that in the powered on, but not powered on stage, the display doesn't seem to do anything. Or it's not on anyway. I had a quick read through the instruction manual and it is the most Chinglish I've seen so far. Hopefully I can work out how to get it working. Right, power button, power on. Oh, it speaks English. Power on. Just going to presume P1 is power level 1. Does it go up to... Oh, power level 5. Let's take it up to power level 5. It's on. I mean, I can feel the air coming out of it. And the display. I zoom in a little bit on the display for you. Zooming in. So we've got a picture of a fuel tank. A picture of a fuel pump. I presume that little blue bit with a red, the end of it is the glow plug. We're pulling 133 watts at the moment. Let's quick zoom up here. Boop. Let's come down to 130. 130 watts. 130 watts. Camera's panning too fast. So it's glowing. I can see the in and out of the exhaust intake, which means it's fan spinning. Yeah, fan spinning, good, okay. Hopefully any moment now it'll start pumping in fuel. Oh, the fuel pipe is flashing and I can hear it pumping fuel. I can hear it's lit now. So bring the microphone into the noise. You can hear it's lit. Granted, I don't have any exhaust or silencers on it. It's just exiting under the ear body itself. I can see smoke. Glad I've got the workshop fan on. Oh, and I apologise for the rain noise if you can hear it. Okay, we are lit. We've got a little flaming symbol. I was going to say a flaming something, but it's just literally a flame symbol, and there's hot air coming out. Okay, so it totally, absolutely runs. Oh, so running at full power, and it is pulling 40 watts, which is about the same as every other 4 kilowatt heater pulls when it's running normally. 40. That's a good heat going off that. Oh, it is still Oh, it nearly flamed out there. That was weird. How is it flaming out? It's full of diesel. Is it full of diesel? Right. It's struggling here. Why is it struggling? It should not be struggling. Checking to make sure there's diesel in the tank. Tons of diesel in there. Look at it. It's struggling to burn. That's bizarre. Perhaps it's because I have the air intake and the exhaust basically attached next to each other underneath. Let's turn it down a little bit. Right, hopefully this should make it happier. Or we could just shut the thing down. Power off. This speaks English at least, right. I guess we let it shut down and then take it apart and see what the insides look like. Actually, let's just take it apart while it's shutting down. So, I think the screws go all the way through. Right, I'm gonna take off the screws into nothing by the feel of it. That's the wrong size screwdriver for starters. Wow, whoever put, oh man, that is a horrible fit. That screw is just stabbed in there wherever it hit. I wonder if this voids my Amazon warranty. I suppose now I'm showing it on camera, me taking it apart will kind of void its warranty. I mean, like, see that screw there? Like, that one's just jammed in it. Oh, it's not even tight, it's just jammed in the hole. Any angle will do. So the first thing I should notice is that it's a combination metal body and plastic ends. Oh wait, that's a completely different screw. Why is that one a machine screw and the rest are all been self-tappers? Ta-da! I'll find that one later. It's not impaired. I wonder what that was holding in or on, or they just ran out. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so metal body, plastic ends. Wonder if the handle screws through into the main body or if it's attached to the metal. It screws all the way through. Okay, that's a start. I'll give them that. One handle. Right, we're ready for a peer inside. Will the thing come off the thing? Oh, it does. Ta-da! Put that. It's not the heaviest gauge of steel I've felt. I should put like a third of a tank in there. Oh, there is so much polystyrene dust from the box. Oh, the inside the box looks like someone had broken up lots of polystyrene, stuffed it anywhere and turned it all into polystyrene bits. What have we got? We've got an aluminium heater. Rotate round. Again, there's so much polystyrene everywhere, all over this. It's holding the ends on. Oh god, what? I don't think there's anything holding it. I think it's gravity at the moment is holding the ends on. Holy shitballs. The heater's still blowing to cool itself down. So, I'm having a peruse. Let me, no, it's literally just shut down right there. So let's turn it. Don't want to turn it off? No, let's take you for a walk. Because I can spy things inside. Because I can see a light glowing. I see a green glowing light of some kind of transformer. There is some kind of transformer power supply. Spin this round again. And there's some kind of, so I can see 240, 24 volt. Ah, the table's really hot where this has been sitting and just fucking leant on it like a muppet. Right, lettuce. Like I say, is that aluminium? Is that aluminium? Is that rust? Is this steel? Send me a magnet. Quick, someone find me a magnet. It looks for all the world like galvanized steel. Like this is galvanized steel? Nah, surely it must be aluminium. Oh man, that is rough as... I'm sorry, I'm going to say it's rough as fuck. Jesus. Okay, let's... God, this gets better and better. Oh man, I love it when we find gems like this. Right, let's get the ends off it. Right, let's just You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna unplug it from the wall. I'm gonna turn it off. I'll plug it back in once I've moved things and identified where the wires are. Right, what is holding this bad boy together? Is there a screw underneath? There must be, surely. Yes, I can feel 2 screws. Right, we're gonna tip you somewhere. Which way we tip it? How much diesel do you think will come out? Oh, that's an unpleasant noise. Let's tip it this way. Right, 2 screws. In here, hold the plastic end caps on. 2 things on the bottom. Right, let's stand her up and try and get the ends off without dropping it. Oh, okay. Shall we start at the back? Here we go. So, we've got cables that come up to the 2 back terminals. So will we go ahead and assume, seeing as there's a 24 volt power supply in here, that this must be a 24 volt heater body. Wow, it's actually got a fuse. That's impressive. Right, let's get this off. There we go. Oh man. Oh, this metal's like razor blades. Wow, that's sharp. Be careful, kids. You will lose a finger if you drop that like that. Right. Probably need that. Speed clip. Speed. Right, let's just unplug the front display. Front display, say typical 3-wire remote control. That speed clip does not want to stay on there. So, we will let it. Oh, while we're down here, let's get the self-tapping screw as well. Oh, and spiders, give it back. Alright, we blop, 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 blop. Right, and on the back is the... is that likely to come out there without a fight? No. No. Like I was hoping this would just like no, it kind of does unscrew. Right, let's just do that. Let's unscrew. Everything is trying to go on the floor today. Remove the back panel, and I'll try not to drop anything else. Right, isolator, no, inside's isolator, and the back panel. Does it say what it is? It looks very nylon-y. It's very shiny. I don't see any markings of what kind of is. It's not got that, I don't know, the sound of ABS. It sounds like nylon. And usually, if you're making things cheaply out of nylon, you don't tell everybody you're making things cheaply out of nylon. Feels like nylon. Right. Okay. Here we are. So we've got 2 terminals. And they, via this fuse... Oh, there's a washer. I wonder where the other one went. Well, that one went straight on the floor with all its friends. Got a 20 amp fuse. Good start. Now that fuse is just on the incoming rear supply, that fuse. Then I've got a little fuel tank here. What is that? 5 litre fuel tank. And there's a fuel pump up the front. And it's absolutely not at any sort of degree of angles. Oh, here's some wiring. Quick. What is missing from this picture? We have... What is it with these... What is it with people and wiring terribly? Look at this. Can you see... Can you how... Oh, I need to do 2 jobs at once here. I'm not sure I can. Look at that. Look. Oh, too much. Okay, the mains in and out, which is the furthest to the left. These are mostly okay. There's not too many strands poking out. You'll notice that the earth cable is absolutely not attached to anything at all. You could have put the fucking earth into the metal actually body of the thing, because I mean you can touch that while it's running, because that's just the base plate. You can reach under there and touch metal and get a lit. Look, there's another bit of polystyrene. It's everywhere. Like, that needs to be a thing. I need to ground this somehow. Ugh. Right, anyway. But look at the output. I mean, a few good tugs and you would have them out. It's half wired in. Half the wires aren't in the fucking connection. Let's take the diesel heater off its mount and have a look at this power supply. Right, what am I moving first? Right, so there is the standard heater block connector. Let's just disconnect that first. Very sharp. As I say, fuel pump up the front, which I'm gonna see if I can find. Hang there, please. Has it got any numbers? Has it got anything on it? Yeah. Alright, okay, right. So this is currently breaking all the rules of things. Right, that says 400 watt, 24 volt. I should have perhaps tested the voltage output before I tried this, but this is a 12 volt, 22 mil pump. I didn't think that a 12 volt pump would. Can I even zoom in on the text to make sure? So as to prove I am not lying. Can you see on there? Oh, back a little bit, back a bit. 12 volt, 22 mil. Now we know, I mean, we have literally tested that a 24 volt pump will not run at 12. But does that mean a 12 volt pump will run at 24? I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, well, it should, but it should run for a very short amount of time before it dies, due to the fact you're putting twice the voltage through its coil. We should plug this back in and see what voltage output this gets. What we'll do is take the heater off its body first. Do you have a 10 mil spanner? Even though I think they're 8s. Oh, this is one of the weird ones that doesn't have studs. It's actually got bolt holes in the heater and the bolts go into the heater body. Which is fine for this application, but it's an absolute pain in the arse if you're trying to fit it in a van. Because at least in a van, you can drill 4 holes and set your heater on it and push them through. And you can do it like by yourself. But if you have to line up holes and do the thing by yourself, that's not much fun. Wrong way, you're going the other side now. Must be aluminium, surely. Very surely. It's an interesting casting, I'll give them that. Because if you look, the end plate's not an end piece. It's 2 halves as opposed to 2 ends and then 2 halves, which is an interesting way of doing it. We can definitely agree I've not seen one of these before. Right, let's undo this and then we'll take the fuel pipe off it, and we'll take the whole thing out and open its guts. Right, so that should lift off now. Ta-da! One heater body. Right, it must be aluminium. Right, let's get a magnet just to make absolutely 100% sure this is aluminum. Ugh, diesel everywhere now. One magnet. It's absolutely aluminum, apart from the steel screws. Steel screws, ta-da, aluminium body. Okay, well that's good. Right. So there's a screw at that end, one in that end, and 2 at this end holding together. And look, it's all aluminium. It's weird as balls. What a strange creature. I mean, they really went out on their own to build their own heater. I presume the insides are still the same. There we go. Right, let's just set you over there. Well, let's have a catch the screws. 1, 2. So, here we have a razor-edged casting. Not the thickest, but still. And some people seem to like the aluminium because of the fact it doesn't go on fire. Well, I mean, it does if you get it hot enough, but... And here we are, on the innards. Oh, I thought that was a bit of sort of... Oh, it's just a razored edge. Pretty typical looking heater. Body, not body, thing. Let me, pliers. Fuel pipe again. Let's just take the whole fuel pipe off so I can get the whole thing out. Right, that comes off. I've lost the other spring clip already. Bit of pipe, bit of rubber doodad. It's just the base plate I'm taking off. That there. Oh, that's nice. That's Alright, this is the point in the video where I realised that the battery in the microphone went flat. And I sure as fuck I'm not putting this all back together to re-record what I recorded. So I'll find out in editing where it finished making or recording my voice. So what I'll do is I'll just talk about all the things again when I'm putting it back together, and we'll kind of have it in reverse order. And wish, like, why didn't, you know, it'd be good to see if the microphone fucking thing beeped when the battery was low or just about to go flat, just to give me half a clue and not just fucking silently die. Because it's got like 3 bars. It goes 2, 1, and then it just fucking disappears. Anyway, right, multimeter, power supply, probes. Let's plug it in and turn it on. Okay. It's on, green light's on, and right, let's go voltage first. So let's not touch the case when we're doing that. Mains, incoming. 240 volts. Perfect. Right. DC output. DC output is 24 bloody volts. 24 volts. And that is absolutely the ground side. That positive, negative, positive, negative. I mean, it is 24 across the board. Apart from there, because there's nothing there in that one, that's empty. That's still 2 negatives. That's positive, negative, and that is the correct polarity. So how on this great mother of God, how are they powering this heater with 24 volts? I've also just realised that means these... Wait, I'm completely out of shot. 2 end caps are at 24 volts right now, are they? I presume these will both be at 24. Oh yes, they are also live at 24 when it's plugged into the mains. That's bizarre. Right, I should try and let them not touch each other or the metal bench while we're operating. Alright, turn it off. I don't need a disaster just yet. Alright, folks, I'm genuinely perplexed as to how they have a 24 volt heater running on 12 volt components. I don't understand. I don't understand. Does it work the other way? I mean, do they? Because it's the thing. They sell a 24 volt motor, and they sell a 24 volt fuel pump, and they sell a 24 volt glow plug. Because if you use a 12 volt glow plug at 24 volts, it gets super red hot and then burns out really quickly. Unless this ECU is outputting 12 volts. By that I mean it's taking in 24 and giving out 12. Is that a possibility? Well, what do we need to test that? Do we just plug it in and then see what the glow plug voltage output is when it tries to start up? We could do that. Right, we could literally do that. Let's... Hey. While we're here, I'm set it back up. Roughly. And then, well, let's just fucking put it back together, seeing as we've missed the microphone output for a lot of this. Right, there's the bottom plate. Let's try and put it on the right way around. No, that's the bottom plate. Right, that's going on there. We're taking this and the rubbery bit. Because I always forget to put this rubber bit on the bottom. Always. I don't know why. Okay, a thought has occurred to me. Right, we're all in agreement that it's taken in 240 and it is absolutely giving out 24 volts. Now, rather than test the voltage at the glow plug, why don't I give the two terminals that we have here 12 volts? If I give them 12 volts and the heater turns on, that means that it's going to run on either 12 or 24, and that the heater ECU has a 12 volt regulator, which it will take in 24 and give out 12 to power the circuits. So I just need enough length of everything in my life is too short. I need everybody to like scooch this way. Come down the bench a bit. Everybody. Come down here. Slide down the bench a bit, right? Because the power supply is way down here. And it's kind of already at max length. Right, so we want ground. There you go. We're currently sitting at 13.4 something volts. Right, there's like... And then we'll just need to try and not touch anything else. Right. There we go. So, 14-ish volts. Does the display do anything?
Power on.
Yes. And it powers on at 12 volts. Well, this is going to make things very upset in a moment. It's going to try and like run 8 amps through my thing. Well, it's trying. It's doing 6 amps at the moment. Right. Okay. Well, that's answered the question. It will run at 12 volts. It will run at 24 volts, and it will run at 240 volts. And I can see the smoke from the glow plug. I mean, it's running at, that's 12 volts, and it's pulling 8 amps. This ECU must have a 12 volt regulator on it. This is marvellous. That means that out there in the wild exists some heaters that can run on 12 and 24 volts. So next time somebody asks me, well, my heater running 12 or 24, I'll have to say, I've no idea, boss. It might. That's weird. Because, wait, can you see? No, you can't see this display. Because you can press this display, and it knows it's at 12.5 volts. Right, hold on. Let me, can you see on there? 12.5 volts. Zoom in. I don't have the controls. 12.5 volts. So previously, I'll show you later on when it's running on mains power, that says 24 volts. So this one knows. Oh, by the way, that's the burn chamber temperature I found out. This goes up, obviously. Funnily enough, when it's burning and you get a lot hotter. Right. Oh, it's lit again. Oh, good. We're going to start a small fire. There's only so much diesel. Right, anyway, it is literally running at 12 volts. Okay, my mind is blown. That's me, I'm done. I'm going to quit whatever it is I'm doing, because they keep changing things in this game so much. I'm not sure I want to play anymore. That's bizarre. Anyway, I should probably stop it before it kills me in here. Well, it's decided it's lit. It's not put the glow plug off yet. But it is lit. That is bizarre. Running 12 and 24. Man, that's... What a time to be alive. Has science gone too far? Yeah, the temperature of the housing's up to 55 degrees now. Anyway, let's shut this down before it goes crackers. Fine. Let this cool down, and then we'll put it back together and talk about it as we put it back together this time. I don't know why I'm waiting for it to cool down. It doesn't need to cool down. It's not hot. And the ECU is not going to melt because it's not got a top cover on it. Woo! Whiff of smoke. Oh, by the way, you get a phenomenal backfire if you don't let it clear the chamber. Just if anyone is interested. Right, so I'm not sure when the microphone cut off, but we'll just go back over these parts as we... Oh, there's a lot of smoke. Who'd have guessed it from all the diesel that's still inside it? Aluminium outer casing. I do like that the end caps are moulded in. I didn't think I would, but strangely it seems to work. It's nice being able just to slop them right over the top and ta-da! It's back on. Right, where do you think all the screws are? Right, everybody go that way, away, again, down the other end. So, let's put it back together, and then we'll talk about the controls on the... Actually, those ones are alright, I'm just going to leave them alone. I wish I had an earth. I wish the earth was connected to the body. That is something we can look at for later on. Right, I'm going to put this all back together, and then we'll talk about the controls and the other functions that this has. Well, that was unpleasant. If you thought taking it apart was horrible, putting it back together was even worse. I'm surprised I still have all my fingers. I've also not tightened up these screws on the top. Yeah, the construction is frugal, shall we say. It is not the best in construction. I sure as fuck wouldn't be carrying it very often with this top handle. And yeah, I wouldn't be relying on that to take any real weight of anything. Probably, if someone was like looking for a heater that runs on 12 and 24 volts for some god unknown reason, I would just buy the whole unit, take the heater out and throw the rest of it in the trash. That's kind of the best place for it. I mean, yes, it is a transportable heater. It is an all-in-one. You've got your fuel tank and it's in a metal case, and what it really just needs is probably the exhaust pointed somewhere else, which it's buried way deep in there. You know, it'd be nice if they just like I don't know, put a small pipe on it and just ran the exhaust out here, just so the exhaust and the air intake were separated. That'd be nice. Perhaps I'll put that on in a minute for testing. Now, this brings us back to the screen at the front that you can only see when it's in operation. I've lost the instruction manual. Here it is. So, it's actually quite interesting and it does a few things. Right, so the one in the middle turns on and off. These two turn things up and down. This is for priming the fuel pump somewhere. I haven't found it in the thing because it's got an option in the other menu we'll get to that for pumping. I thought perhaps it had a fuel gauge, but that doesn't work if you unplug it and it forgets things. So it's probably not a fuel gauge because it's got like things that say PO for the pump. Well, I'm sure it means pump oil to flash and prime. It does have a function of ventilation where it runs the fans with no heat. It'll just do that. Hold on, let me show you. So you press and hold the power button. Wait, let me zoom in on the control panel. A little bit over here. Alright, here we are in the old control box. That would help if I plug it in the wall. Let me just plug it in. Hopefully it still works. And 7.8 watts, smashing, it's still on in there. So you press and hold this button to go through the menus.
Normal start.
Normal start.
Pump oil start.
Pump oil.
Ventilation mode.
Ventilation mode.
Remote or matched.
Remote match.
Remote pump oil.
Remote something or other.
Language.
Language.
Normal start.
Normal start.
Pump oil start.
Pump oil.
Ventilation mode.
Ventilation. So if you put it on ventilation, it just turns the fan on with no heat. It just goes through the fan. You can turn the fan up to 5. And it goes to a full power blow. So a lot of people seem to like the thing where they could plumb their heater to draw in air from the outside. Well, that's not going to fucking work with this heater, is it? Because it's not got an end cap you can use the back cap is just a vent, there's nothing to attach to. It's literally just going to be blowing air about. So that blows air. I know it's showing the flame symbol, there's no flame. It's absolutely just blowing ambient air. Right, that turns it off again. So as you saw, there's normal start, pump oil start. Where is it? Pump oil start. What did it say? Pump oil start. There's a remote. Alright, this one doesn't make any sense. Remote controlled manual pump oil. Long press the knob on the screen and it'll display RP on the 4th. Release the button. The screen will display 20, which means this function will be turned off 20 minutes later. Remote controlled manual pump. I don't know what that means. Because I'm afraid to press it. Alright, so we'll go for RP.
Normal start.
Normal start.
Pump oil start.
Pump oil start.
Ventilation mode.
Ventilation.
Remote or matched.
Remote match.
Remote pump oil.
Remote parboil. I think she said remote parboil. And then something happens after 20 minutes. Oh. Stop. Ah. For some strange reason, there's an option in the menu that lets you prime the fuel pump via the remote control. I'm not sure why that would be useful.
Power off.
And the last one's the language, which you don't want Chinese, obviously. Unless you are a Chinese speaker, which you probably want Chinese. Hold on. I'm going to take my microphone off and put you in the next to the speaker so you can hear the nice lady talking.
Normal start. Pump oil start. Ventilation mode. Remote or matched. Remote pump oil. Select language. Normal start.
And that's one of the things. Now, let me put this back on here. So as we saw, so you can have a power level of power 1 to 5. But if you press and hold this one, I think. Okay, it's not that one. If you press and hold this one,
Air condition mode.
it switches into the temperature control mode where you set your temperature. You say if you want it to be. Only goes up to 35, and then it'll do the thing where it goes up to 35 and then it brings it down to a lower, not half running power mode. Oh hell, if we set it to 12 or whatever it is in here. So it should come up to temperature and then on fast and then slow down and go to low power again. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this run for a minute to clear out all the diesel I pumped into it at the end. And oh, what I should do is try putting the exhaust on it. Where is the exhaust? Can I put it on before I get burned to death? Here is a bit of an exhaust. It's only a little squished. Right. I've got no chance of getting that at a right angle. How would you even... Right, if I can bend that into... How are you supposed to bend this into... Right, that's a right angle. Can I remember which one is the exhaust? It'll be the hot one, I imagine. That one. That's hot, boys! And, as expected, when you put the exhaust on, there's no space. They've made a portable heater that you can't put an exhaust on at a right angle. How is this help? This hasn't helped. I mean, it's running a bit better. Or is it? And that end's crushed as well. Ah, it's also very hot! Is there a silencer in this box? Do they provide a silencer? Surely they must provide a silencer. Let me rake through my polystyrene. Ah, there's no silencer in here! What? Motherfuckers! So they'll give you a hole saw for drilling holes in your van for the exhaust, but they won't give you a silencer for the fucking thing? What a crock of shit! Right, I'm actually just noticing, is there any intake pipe? Yes, okay, there's an intake pipe. No intake silencer. Wait, are these? Oh, there's feet extensions for mounting it to something, not actual feet extensions to make it taller. It does come with 4 vents. Here is all my crushed pipe. At least it's running this thing. So you get a hole saw, a bag of doings. There appear to be... Has anybody else seen the polystyrene still blown out of this? There's like leg extensions to go in there so you can screw it to a floor. And 4 of these chaps so you can point your hot air into various places, which isn't a terrible thing. Would have preferred a single outlet. I don't know why, I just think a single outlet would be better. Right, if I press this button now, so can you see on there, it's got a body temperature 130 degrees, voltage 24 volts, 24 fucking volts, and the temperature reset, which is 12. So let's see what body temperature this gets up to before it ticks over. I'm gonna guess 150. Okay, I'm guessing the tick over point was 170-ish degrees because it started to slow down now. Temperature's still going up in the housing, but I can hear the fan starting to get slower. Right, well, smashing. She's fully up to temperature and is ticking away quite nicely. As we can see, the fucking exhaust doesn't fit for operation in this mower. I just decided to turn it off. I think it just powers off and just turns the display off. Like, you just have to... It'd be nice if it just stayed on and like you actually see it shutting down. This time we're gonna have to let it shut down. Right, let me get rid of this shite. Right, she's still cooling away quietly in the background. Now, what is the best thing about this here? Or what are the good things? So the good thing is the actual heater inside itself. Nice, all aluminium construction. It's weird, very weird ability to run on 12 or 24 volts. We'll have to look later on how it's doing it. The outer housing, yes, take it or leave it with a pinch of salt. It's not great, but it is an all-in-one heater and it allows you to run with your little fuel tank and take it and carry it about and remote start, etc. But probably what its best feature is going to be is you can run it on one of them, or on one of them, or even, where is he? Come here. The little teeny tiny Jackery. Because even the teeny tiny Jackery does 200 watts output. It'll power this heater, no problem. You don't have to worry about drawing over 10 amps on the 12 volt startup. The inverters inside these will quite happily give you 150 watts. I mean, the Blue Yeti is 1,000 watt output. This is the medium Jackery. It's 500 watt of output. It'll any of these, as I say, even the small one will happily run this here. You will take that out, plug that in there, turn it on. Like, it will run this here. It will run this here. Yeah, let me just that in there, let's turn it on. Power on. There you go. It's on. If we can watch the current draw in the on the Jackery. As I say, this is the smallest Jackery they do, and we're going to let this. Oh, it's still doing a cool down. All right, I'll bring you back once it actually starts doing things. Okay, finally it's cooled down enough to let it start itself back up. There we go, 100 watts. Well, it's probably less than 100, 130. There's a fly in here. I would take the reading on the Jackery with a slight margin of error because I think it uses like 15 watts sitting there doing nothing by itself. So that's probably like, I mean, but it's still doing it. It's still absolutely within its range. We're pulling 130 watts there. I say we're 43 degrees housing temperature. The little glow plug light is on. It's doing it. It's absolute. You have this is now an absolutely portable heater. I could pick the two of them up and go for a walk. I'm not going to because it's raining outside, but it's doing it. That is like the best function. Can I just turn it off mid-cycle? Does it care? Should it care? Nah, it's fine. Sweet. So this has got to be the best function of this heater is you can run on mains power or 12 or 24 volt. But it just plugs into one of the portable power things. It just plugs straight in. You just plug it in and turn her on. And I imagine below it also 7 watts. Granted, it does sit drawing 7 watts the whole time. It's not doing anything. That's probably because of the fan inside the inverter inside that's making the 240 and the 24. But it does it. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, anything like that, leave them down below in the comments and I'll do my best to read and answer them all. As it's now coming up to winter, well, we've done this here. I've got another heater coming from Banggood, and I've got another heater coming from Max Peeding Rods for us to look at. The two of them are totally different. They're things I haven't played with before and haven't seen. They're supposed to be newer, differenter heaters. I mean, they're still the same basic shape and size, but the control and function and operation are different. So we will have a look at them when they arrive. I've got a few other things I have to test for people, which I thought was interesting. There's perhaps supposed to be a laser engraver and carver I'm getting to play with before it goes and does art, because I have no art. My art is smashing hamsters with a brick. That's probably about the level of art I could come up with for you. But we can test it, because currently I'm the only one with a compressor. You need to run it. So it's just a hobby. Laser engraver thing's not like an industrial. Man, I wish it was an industrial laser cutter. Oh, could you imagine the carnage that I could create with an industrial laser cutter? Anyway, I've waffled on now. Questions, comments, anything else, down below, and we'll see you for the next video. Thanks for watching.